Gillian Larson here with Riding Warehouse to talk about bitless bridles. We're going to talk about in this video 3 different types of bitless bridles and what horses they might be best suited for. So our first example is going to be the side pull. This is the Berlin side pull, and all side pulls basically function similar to like a snaffle bit where they rely on direct rein pressure for cues. Your reins would attach to the side of the horse's face off of this nose piece. There's usually rings available, and you do rely on direct rein pressure to go left, to go right, to stop your horse. And this can be a great fit for horses who are used to riding with, some light contact, who like having light contact, horses who are decently sensitive and kind of know how to give to pressure. So they have good vertical flexion. They don't need a lot of reminders on that. So your horse who's well educated or who's very light could be a great fit for a side pull. When determining the fit of your side pull, you want the noseband to be as high up on the horse's nose as you can to avoid like the more delicate bone structure down lower. This is a little big on him, so if I was fitting this to him directly, I would punch in a couple more holes here. That's what's nice about the Berlin, is you can very easily just punch in some more holes to get that customizable fit. So I'd want the noseband to be decently high up on his face, so that way this ring up here is sitting on his cheek and not interfering with his cheekbone. You'd want your throat latch to be like with a bridle where you can get a couple fingers in there, and just overall make sure that any of the metal hardware is touching more of his cheek and soft parts and not any of his bony facial structures. Our second option is a Dr. Cook bitless bridle, and this is essentially an intermediary between a side pull and a leverage bitless bridle. Yes. So your reins still attached to rings on the side, but instead of the rings being fixed to the nose piece, they slide through these additional rings. And when applying pressure, that causes straps underneath the horse's chin to have some pressure under the chin, giving an additional cue, which can encourage the horse to lower its head. So that's almost more like a leverage, where when applying a significant amount of pressure, you have an additional under the jaw pressure, like a leverage bit or a leverage bitless bridle would also act. But it's very simple, it's soft, and when using light cues, you're having more of a direct rein effect on your horse. So this bitless bridle can be a great option for horses who maybe get strong on occasion, but don't need a leverage all the time. And for horses who maybe like very light contact on a regular basis and then only occasionally might need a slightly stronger cue to get their attention. So our next option is our leverage bitless bridle option. This is the Zilko, and it has a mechanical piece here that puts pressure on both the nose and the jaw when you pull back on the reins. Your reins attach to this piece here, and so when you pull on it, it has leverage on the nose and the jaw, which helps encourage vertical flexion. This is very similar to a leverage bit. It's not meant to have constant pressure, but simply to give a cue, and when the horse responds, to then release the pressure. So horses that do well in this style are horses who necessarily don't want constant pressure, but who maybe need also a little encouragement in some vertical flexion. When fitting this bridle, it's very adjustable. In the front, you can shorten this nose piece because you want to basically have this metal piece centered below the cheekbone and still as high up on the nose as you can without this metal piece hitting that cheekbone. There's also adjustment in the back. So I had to adjust both the front and the back to get it snug enough, but still keeping this metal piece centered along this part of his face. And then for the throat latch, again, simple. You want a couple fingers in there. This is our final bitless bridle option. This is the Royal King Bosal. And just like a leverage bit, you don't ride with direct contact on this. It's meant to have cues coming from the rein where you lift up, and then the pressure on the jaw causes the horse to then respond to your cue. So very light pressure. The rawhide piece gives very sensitive cues, so you don't need a lot to have good communication with your horse. This Bosal in particular is a great entry-level Bosal. It's highly adjustable. It's quite malleable, so you're not gonna have too much firmness, so you can adjust the fit, especially at the bottom here with The ropes, depending on how many wraps around the Bosal you do, can give a closer fit. So if your horse has a smaller nose, you can get a snugger fit. If your horse has a bigger nose, you can take off some of the loops and redo it to have a looser fit. And if you need, a better fit on the side, you're able to just kind of wet it and then wrap it, and that'll give you a more snug fit on the sides. When getting a good fit, the best way to have it is to have, a good contact on the side, not to where it is putting pressure. You don't want any pressure points, but you just want kind of like a seamless fit of equal pressure all the way around the nose within a couple fingers gap at the chin. So that way when you pull up on it, that hitting the back of the chin then gives that cue, especially for vertical flexion on the horse. Thanks for watching, and to shop all of the Bitless options, go to the Riding Warehouse website. And to learn more, check out our Learning Center.